Welcome to CRC Competitive Racing Club. This is Season 4, Round 4 of the French Grand Prix Le Mans. We will begin the stream in just a moment as we're just getting ready to start. And it's been good. I mean, Le Mans has been good to us so far, the French Grand Prix weekend. It's looking good. Everyone is on an out lap right now, getting ready to go. So we'll be moments away from the start of this stream. Alright, hello everybody and welcome back. This is going to be round 4 of Season 4 of Competitive Racing Club. This is Tier 2 action. We have, from Le Mans, we have some of the best drivers in the 2nd Division facing the GT3 class. We have some notable figures racing today. We have our championship points leader, Blizzard, right now on track, and his teammate who's right up there in the championship fight, Speedster. Speedster is going to be running double duty today. He's going to be the first driver ever in CRC history to be running double duty after Super Guy announced earlier today that he's leaving CRC. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, the replacement HRT Esports did state that Speedster will be filling up in the car in the Mercedes SLS for today only, and we'll see what happens after this race. And, well, I mean, Speedster's been known figure to be Tier 1 material. I mean, he's at the top of his game in Tier 2, and he's had some strong results in the past in Tier 1. So we will see what he does in Le Mans. I mean, he'll be racing the SLS, but right now he's racing the McLaren, so it'll be a different story for Speedster. But him running double duty, we'll keep an eye on Speedster. The STV driver, we'll look back with him. But right now, here's Keenan right now through the Porsche curves, drifting, seeing that back end twitch from just a moment ago, and trying to nail these curbs in. That is a spin from Keenan, the best spin we've seen today. Evelyn third, and there's another spin. That's the Renault. Pretty sure that was Flaky, and it is. Or not Flaky, Bart. Oh, those white and orange liveries. There's just so many of them out on track. Here's Flaky right now, and he's going through the S's, through the Dunlop, and he's getting ready for the back straightaway. So nobody has set a lap time yet. It's a little bit concerning. We have 8.5 minutes remaining. This qualifying session was going to be 10 minutes, but due to the length of Le Mans, the stewards deemed that a 15-minute qualifying session would be best for these drivers, and same goes for Tier 1, a 15-minute qualifying session, and we'll see how that goes. And we just ended up losing a driver. We lost someone. Was it Keenan? I think we did lose Keenan. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can invite him back. So while we try and invite Keenan back, not on the invite list. Okay. And there we go. Let's see if we can get him back in here. So again, nobody has set a lap time yet so far. We have 7.5 minutes remaining at Le Mans. And let's go for the championship standings, but while we wait for these guys to set their lap times. They were just posted today to be updated. Let me see if I can find them here. So Keaton is stating that there's a problem with his account. He has 5 minutes to join until we hit the, or I mean 3 minute, not 3 minutes, we have 4 minutes or so for him to join before we hit the 3 minute marker until it does not allow a driver to join. So it needs 3 minutes to do this. If he's not going to be able to join, we'll have 8 drivers for today instead of 9. And with the first season of Tier 2, you know, it's still decent numbers that we're seeing. 9, 10, 11 drivers. We even saw 12 drivers at Daytona for the opening round, so that was a really, really good turnout. However, Le Mans, another big race in the season. Another big race that we have later going on in the season. We have Long Beach, and then we have Bathurst. We have our four big races of the season, and this is our second one. And I want to highlight... it was Tiger Kart that ended up winning the first race of the season. That was the big jewel at Daytona that he claimed for himself in the Ferrari. However, he's not here today. He's visiting his old university alumni. So wish him the best, and well, it's unfortunate to see Tiger Kart out. He was contending inside the championship. So why don't we check our standings here? Scroll down to Tier 2. Yeah, so Blizzard leads the championship by 6 points over his teammate Speedsta. Speedsta goes quickest to 4 flat. Oh, what a fantastic lap time. And we have Agulator going second. That is 7/10 off Speedsta, so good lap times being set. Evil is winding up towards the Porsche curves, and he does run wide. Does that set him up nicely for this corner? Just almost to the curb. So Evil's going to be close to his lap time. Let's see who's close to the end of theirs. Well, let's just check with Evil, because Evil's pretty close. So yeah, the championship standing shows Blizzard with the lead. He showed up for every single race so far this season. Speedsta has not. That's why his lead has slipped to 7 points behind his teammate. Tiger Kart has 44, Speedsta 43, then Matt with 32. And it's unfortunate because Tiger Kart and Matt, both 2 championship protagonists in this series that aren't on Team Papaya, they're out. So this really does help the team that is pulling away in the championship already. So here we go, Evil crossing the line. That is a 4:10. Must have been a warm-up lap in some sorts, but that's Flaky up to 3rd. Oh, Maze. Maze is Sector 2. Yeah, why don't we check with Blizzard? Blizzard does not set a lap time. Like we said, he leads the championship. Team Papaya, by the way, also known as Team Blue Line. Team Papaya has 93 points to Hopeless's 70, and Inside Line Racing's 53. So with the 2 main drivers for the teams of Matt and Tiger Kart not showing up, this does look good for these guys. They're going to extend this championship points lead. And Speedsta, he could peek into the 3 minutes. I reckon he could peek into the 3 minutes. And you know what? Oh, that's Blizzard almost spinning. Has to go very, very cautious through the final 3 corners. Gets on the curb. I don't think this is going to be the best of lap for him. Not even valid. So he'll go for another go. Why don't we also recap the Tier 1 championship standings? So, out of last week, a shock win from Rotary, or also known as Tomas then, making his first start. He ended up winning it, which is fantastic. Gives him a lot of momentum to carry forward, but I will say, Crusher does lead with 52 points. 3 points behind is Ash Richardson with 49 points. Now, another big story today is Crusher said he will not be attending this race, the Tier 1 race, that is. So this really does, it does help Ash in the championship standings. It also helps Rotary catch back up. Also helps Professional, who is at 44 points in this championship. And even helps Xandermar. I mean, he has the SLS today. He's ahead of, even believe it or not, racing at home. He's ahead of him in points. You know, it helps everybody except himself, really the team, because everybody behind him really needs to catch up. I mean, you have the Williams guys that just switched to the Cadillac, so they're really going to have a fast car for this race, are the Williams engineering guys. And then after that, the teams behind him are both SLS teams, and they were going to do well regardless. I mean, the Cadillac and the SLS are the cars to beat here today, and the AMG as well. However, the thing for Tier 2 is that nobody is driving those cars, so really, Le Mans is going to be a long shot on who can hold the straight line speed, and we reckon that the Ferraris could do that, but with only one Ferrari car in the field today, it's kind of hard to imagine that actually happening, and it could go to the McLarens, who actually lack rear stability. You can see right up against that curb, very close. trimming the curbs left and right. He does run a bit wide. That may be invalidated. Yeah, I think that was invalidated. I think that was a good lap time. He reckons, I don't know, I don't think that's going to be enough time. Speeds to settles with a 4 flat. 7/10 behind his Agulator. He's on a lap right now. Flaky is actually getting the toe of the Ferrari of Evil right behind. Riding on board with Flaky. He stands 3rd right now in the timesheets in qualifying. Oh, Evil. That back end is sliding, and Flaky. A lot of oversteer. Or understeer, I should say. So riding on board, we'll both have Evil and Flaky cross the line, and that's way off the line. I don't think that's going to be an improvement for Flaky. He'll cross the line. You have no improvement at all. Evil did not improve either. We have a minute left, and we actually have 4 of these drivers not even setting lap time, so we're relying for these laps to be valid. Blizzard is still on a run right now. I think he could get 1 more lap in if he pushes. May or Casper, not so much, or actually 3 drivers, my bad. I'm not racing. I'm not going to. And then we have Bart. I think May's actually out on the lap as well, believe it or not. So yeah, Agulator not improving at all either. Remember that Porsche in the same livery was the car to beat in Season 1 with Racing at Home. However, with penalties and an opening lap crash, despite being several seconds faster than everybody else, he was not able to claim victory at Le Mans. Oh, Blizzard! He'll cross the line, but he just seemed to be off the track in the final seconds. And this is going to be it for Casper. Hopefully this lap is valid and good. Bart is at the very end as well. You can see the 2 Renaults squirming up, and whoa, what happened to Casper? Losing a tire. I've never seen this before. So Casper's brakes must have gone or something, and he either the pedal in real life, because that car just went flying into a wall. We got no coverage of the contact, but Casper losing a tire in the process, so that is unfortunate to see. Bart moves up to 6, and we're just waiting on Blizzard now, who hopefully this lap is valid. And the lap was invalid from Casper. So the one driver we wait for. Actually, it's Agulator and stuff. I'm not even sure if Agulator's on the lap. I mean, it says he has, but at the same time, we know it's a glitch with the game. Half the time it says you're on a lap and you're not. But I think we'll catch up with Agulator here. So he is nailing each and every corner. We'll see if Agulator will be the one to beat or not. Yeah, Bart's not on a lap anymore. Yeah, from the looks of it, I think he just crossed the line. Blizzard is still on a run. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting on Agulator and Blizzard to see if they'll be the ones to claim the top. I mean, we both know that they are the ones to have the speed. That was awfully slow. That was awfully slow entering the third sector. Let's see if it's enough, either that or to improve a time to tackle Blizzard if he's able to set a lap. Good run. Just enough track extend. Missed the apex there, but I think he's just setting up for the final few corners through the Porsche curves. This is a very, very tricky part of the track. It gets very technical from a long straightaway standpoint. He's able to nail each and every corner. Oh, that looked like a corner cut at the final second. We'll see if this lap is valid. Agulator crosses the line. Lap is not valid. So that corner cut in the final corner costed Agulator a chance at improving his lap time. So let's run on board with Blizzard. He has not set a lap yet today. Neither has Casper, so even if he does get in a lap time just slow and steady, you could still get 7th place if he just worries about setting a lap. That's valid. Does have 120-something seconds left. Or 100 more. So whenever we go on board, it just freezes. I don't get it. So a minute left to do this, and through the final few corners, nice and easy. Oh, that's a wicked corner cut from Blizzard, and that lap is not going to be valid. So unfortunately, the lap was not there for Blizzard, and he cut the second to last corner, and that was not a valid lap. So our qualifying results, if I can remove the mic, it's Speedster, Agulator, Flaky, Evil, Maze, Bart, Casper, and Blizzard. It rounds out the 8 drivers we have today at Le Mans. It's looking to be a good race. So one thing I do want to notice, I actually do want to point out here, on the top right of my screen, it says I'm on hard slicks. I don't think hards are going to be the way to go. If I can just show my setup here. We'll do a little behind the scenes. So really, this is our setup menu that we have to deal with. Soft slicks should be the way to go. And if you look at the PSI, the tire pressures, they're all right. Not the best. Isn't really set up for a race, but you can tell at the top of the screen. Right now, the air is only 69 degrees Fahrenheit. That's, I would say, either high 20s, low 30s of Celsius. I'm trying to do the math in my head. And also, the track temperature is barely into the 100s. The track isn't even that warm, or that hot, I should say. It's only going to start to cool down as this is an evening to night race, so while the clouds dimmer away and the moon prevails as the sun sets, this track will start to cool, so the soft tires will be the way to go. As you can see, if we change tires, yeah, I would say start on the soft tires. That's really, really the way to go. The default for this track is the hard tires, unless you have a setup already set for yourself. So like we said, there's no wind today, which does help the air temperature as well. So like we said, soft tires should be the way to go for most of these drivers. And for fuel, that's entirely up to them. Last couple of races, we've seen people running out of fuel like Maze, and trying to think, Matt as well ran out of fuel in the last lap, or second to last lap at Algarve. So again, it's down to these drivers to see how much fuel they want to put in their cars, and whether or not they're really, really willing to risk putting on softs for this race. It should be the way to go. 45-minute race at Le Mans, they should last the entire way through. So as we get ready for the French Grand Prix at Le Mans, we'll get set and ready. Here we go, camera angle, prevail please. There we go. So 5 red lights, the French Grand Prix at Le Mans. And we're green from the French Grand Prix at Le Mans. Speedster, an amazing start against Agulator. Right on board, he covers the inside quickly. Switching to the outside, that's Agulator. Nobody spun off the start, so that is good news. Everybody's staying together. Agulator, very, very slow up the hill. That holds up Evil. And already putting up a lead. I think that was going to be 3 wide for a minute there. Evil holds the inside, making contact, and Agulator and Evil spins. Opening lap contact and drama. So Agulator and Evil going to the back of the field already off the start. And that leaves Blizzard up to 3rd on this start. So maybe qualifying was not a good idea. Maybe not qualifying was a good idea for Blizzard. And he's been able to move himself up to P3 off the start. And I bet the stewards will look into that incident after this race. And actually could see Evil pinning his way through Maze. And as well with contact. So Evil could definitely be brought into the stewards for 2 separate incidents on the opening lap. And I would not be surprised if that does happen. Actually, just move back here. Agulator goes by Maze, who's been jumped. Believe it or not, crashing the opening lap means nothing for those two drivers. Already pinning their way up to the field through the 6th and 7th, both passing Maze. Speedsta carrying through. And this is really going to give him good momentum. Blizzard back there cutting the corner. Actually, let's look with Evil. Evil's about to make a move on Casper. Give us a good camera angle. Here we go. Actually, not Casper. That was actually Casper making a move on Bart for a second. So we have a 3-car pack here. And he's going to look to the inside. The 2 orange cars, 1 black, 1 white. Evil is going to make a move on the outside. A pylon's been going flying by Blizzard. And Evil has to rejoin the track. And he's going to be right next to the same driver who he crashed with on the opening lap. So we right on board here. It's going to be Agulator side by side, making a move with Bart. And they're 3 wide. There's contact. And almost on the grass. They are on the grass, and they're able to save it there. So 3 wide for a move. Very, very risky. To move down to the inside on the Porsche. The Porsche's been hit off in the trap, and there's been contact. Many cars. This will, I can guarantee, will be sent into the stewards. I cannot believe some of these moves have been going on, either acknowledging or not acknowledging that a car is beside you. It's crazy. And all of a sudden we have a five-car pack. That's Agulator back in the background off. Evil's off. Oh, and we get ready for the kink. They're going to have to back off. It's going to be the safe way to go, but Maze is going to have a move up the inside on Casper. And there was some contact, and Agulator is off into the wall with the Renault. Into the wall with Bart. Or not Bart, that was Casper into the wall, his teammate. So madness from the opening laps of Le Mans. There has been several incidents on this opening lap, and that 5-car pack we knew was going to debacle just like that. And Evil right now is up to 5th. I mean, I'm just saying, don't qualify, don't crash, and you have a podium position, and you also have a time penalty, which also just happened. 1 second for Blizzard. So Flaky's up to 2nd. 3rd is going to be Speedsta. So unfortunate incidents that have happened. Agulator's car is completely destroyed. That hood is dented up. It maybe even a little bit dangerous to be running. And that's Bart off the track. Safely. Okay, we thought he was going to merge, but he does let him by. And here's Casper sliding into the line, nowhere to go, and he gets Agulator. Agulator up in the air, flipping violently at Le Mans. Debris is everywhere on this track, and nowhere to go for Agulator. And his car is up and over. And that's the 2nd flip we have seen from Tier 2. I cannot believe my eyes. That is Agulator done for in this race. And the scenes already from this race. That is... cannot believe my eyes. So Casper, despite that 2nd hit, he will be in the pits. So they will be repairing that car, seeing how much damage there is, and seeing how long it'll take. And I think they already let him go. So I don't think there was that much damage. I'm not completely sure. So now that the madness is over, let's see who's near each other. And nobody really is. Why don't we have it on board with Blizzard? He's close to Flaky. I don't think he's reeling in, but he is close. That's a spin from Blizzard. So losing the back end, exiting the first chicane and the run through, and for Blizzard it was just not the way to go. So riding on board, Evil's going to be side by side, and with that spin, he's able to catch back up. Evil's up to third, so both of them do have penalties. So safe to say this battle will be a little bit interesting. Evil spins, or almost did spin. That back end got a little twitchy from him, and there's contact again. However, I think that was lag though. Blizzard is able to get by. So the Ferrari will stick with the McLaren. Again, it's really been a debate this entire season between the Ferraris and the McLarens, who really does have the straight line speed. I mean, the Ferraris won Daytona, but down the straights, you saw it out. Algarve, it was the McLarens that pulled away on the straights. So it really is a debate whether or not it's the McLarens or the Ferraris that do have the straight line speed in Tier 2. And, well, I think this is going to be a good testament to that as well. Blizzard is hanging on to P3. I think both of them have a second time penalty, and it is 1 second. Evil is going to have to make a move. Not now, because we are entering the kink, but maybe up the inside at the end of this kink. But Blizzard covers, but he's offline. That's going to run him wide. Evil gets the switchback, and up to third goes Evil. Good move from Evil. He stayed patient. That's a move of a Tier 1 driver. Sticking back, waiting for an opportunity to hit and open, and that's what he did. He waited, and it benefited him. He got the switchback on Blizzard to take P3. Again, both of them have time penalties, so really it won't affect each other unless the driver gets near him. But Blizzard goes for a move up the inside, so he's able to slipstream and slingshot his way by. It'll be wheel to wheel, but he'll have the inside advantage. Approaching. Good move as well. Clean action so far. And Blizzard gets back by to take P3. So both running over the grass and track extending, trying to use up as much curbing and track as possible. They're really putting the pressure on each other, whether or not Evil can either keep up without hitting the curbs, or with Blizzard just keeping the car still. Back and forth through the final corner. And Blizzard crosses the line, 36 minutes left. And Blizzard is still under threat from Evil. I reckon he's going to make a move on this straight, and he will. Evil up the inside. However, around the outside from Blizzard on the curbing, he keeps it off the curbs. Good idea. We've seen incidents from there before. And Evil, up the inside, cannot get it. That was the same place he was in on lap 1, where he made contact with Agulator. And here we go, Evil gaining again, down the straight. Left or right, which way to go? Blizzard defends left, so Evil will think about the right, but he's moving over to the right-hand side. Gives him just enough room. Will there be room, though? As we enter the first chicane, he will back off and give him the room. Evil braking a lot later. We'll see if he makes a corner, and no, he does not. Evil's off. And spinning on the gravel trap, and we knew that was not going to work out well. Trying to outbrake him on the inside line. Not the best idea, I could say. Not the best idea. Usually, if you're trying to outbrake someone, you do it on the outside when you have more track and more room to recover from outbraking him. However, the inside, he had completely no room to recover from that. So Evil's back to fourth. He's going to have to fight up a gap again. The gap right now is 1.5 seconds between him, or I should say 1.2. It has gained between him and Blizzard. Why don't we ride on board with Flaky? He is keeping up with Speedsta. And believe it or not, you could see that little dot at the end of the track. And that is Speedsta, of course. on the straightaway, Blizzard is starting to pull away again. That gap looks to be almost 2 to 3 seconds. And while we have 33 minutes remaining in this race, Speedsta does lead. The gap is almost 4 seconds. I mean, you could see Flaky right back there in second. Third is Blizzard. Fourth, Evil. Fifth is Maze. And you have 6th for Bart and 7th for Casper, who is still in this thing, finally finishing up his pit stop. And actually, where are we? So, I mean, he's almost close to getting lapped. He's a little too far back. So, alright, let's read what we have so far from the comments of this stream. So, from the opening race, yeah, stewards will be a little bit busy. Yeah, what was a little, I wouldn't say a mess. Okay, yeah, it was a mess. What we saw from Daytona, to this, I'm not surprised, but the difference was, there's Evil. Evil making mistake. He's gotten by Blizzard, and is he waiting? I think he's waiting. Yep. I think he let him back by of some sorts. Maze is actually back there in 5th. Must have missed a mistake from Blizzard, because Blizzard was ahead, and now he's going to head back to the pits. Or something. There we go. Yep, into the pits he goes. Let's see if there's any more penalties added on. No, actually, yeah, 3 seconds for Blizzard. So now Maze is going to be right with Evil. Actually, he was with Evil. Evil's now up to 3rd. So up and through, left and right. Speedsta still leads. Back there, you have Flaky, and then we have Evil. Maze back and forth. This actually, Maze running really, really well. It's his best running in Tier 2 so far, so him running 4th, that's really great. And believe it or not, you have crewmen dressed in green suits, fitting a car that is yellow. Even for his teammate, which has a blue car. It doesn't make sense, but that's Project Cars logic right there. Anyway, why don't we do a little race recap, have a little story on every single driver's day so far. So here we go, we have Speedsta, like we mentioned earlier in this broadcast. Speedsta will be running double duty this weekend for the French Grand Prix at Le Mans. He'll be partnering Zandermar for HRT Esports as a one-off event. After that, we'll see if he races full-time in Tier 1, or if he'll remain in Tier 2, and either they'll promote Nissim or Sean or whoever it may deem possible for that SLS. And Super Guy announced this morning that he will be leaving CRC, and it's sad to see him go. He was a great driver. He had chances to win a couple races in CRC in the past last season. However, this season, it's been a little bit difficult for him figuring out the setup and everything in that SLS. It just has not been the way for him. He did go from the AMG to the SLS, so I really think there's a drastic difference between those two cars, believe it or not. Despite being 5-ish years apart, there's a lot of advancements made to that AMG that really, really helps beat Super Guy. So down in second, we then have... actually, Maze is about to make a move on Evil. Not close enough, but with Flaky. Flaky's had a good run today, story in CRC. I mean, he's made his rookie attempt in the season last season, in Season 3. He won Rookie of the Season, and Flaky did come out with a podium in Brno for the Czech Republic Grand Prix this season. He's been running all right. He already has a podium. He's been close enough there. And Maze has gotten by Evil. The minute we take our eyes off of them, figured that he would get him down the straight, and didn't think Evil would either let him by or make a mistake. We'll see. Now with the Evil... Evil did win this race last season in Tier 1. He won this race in Tier 1, running in the Mercedes AMG. And that just goes to show how good that car was last season. And with Evil now, running in the Ferrari, he doesn't have the best car anymore, but overall car, it is better. Meant for more tracks, but Le Mans, not this one. Down the straight, 29 minutes left in this race, back and forth, weaving and defending. Legally, perfectly fine. But Evil's gonna make a move. He's in the paint. And, oh, he tags Maze in this one. However, he's gonna let him go. Or Maze gonna run him off into the wall. Not even sure what that was about. Either that or was that suspension damage from Maze? I'm not entirely sure. We now have 2 torn up cars running 3rd and 4th, and this is really going to help Blizzard, who just pitted, to repair that damage, and he's not that far behind. Actually, he is that far behind. Don't listen to me. So Maze now, with a completely torn up car on soft tires that are really, really cold at the moment. Same thing for Evil. That right front is cold as well. Speedsta, tire temps are good for him. Those right sides, not so much, but it's good. Same for Flaky. I'd say, like, a lot of these guys, like, despite just spinning, and those tires are really, really cold, Blizzard can't find a way to warm them up. Same thing, actually. Casper has gotten him going. He must be on a run right now. That Renault's running really nicely. But I reckon at least one of these guys will be pitting. However, if Maze pits, Evil will go. Like, Evil will go no matter what. If Maze stays out, I could see Evil, but nope, none of them pit. So the damage they just got was completely nothing to them. And now it's really going to be Blizzard just reeling them in. Maze made a mistake. He's going to get the switchback off the final corner. Evil at the line. Will he get him? He'll be wheel-to-wheel across the line. I think Evil got 3rd place for that lap. However, the momentum is now being stolen from the Lambo as it gains back its straight line speed off the corner. So Maze is hanging on. And oh, that's Evil hard into the wall. He touched the outside curb of this track. We've seen incidents like this before in Season 1. Racing at home touched that curb. His car spun onto oncoming traffic and flipped Roush Rule Kid up in the air. He was a Season 1 driver, if I can remember that correctly. And, yeah, that outside curb is very, very dangerous for these drivers to be touching, especially on an opening lap. And now Evil's car is torn up in bits to pieces without a hood. So Maze right now is running in 3rd in Le Mans. Flaky's right back behind in 2nd. He's 7.5 seconds off Speedsta. And we have 26 minutes remaining in this race. So while there's basically minute gaps between everybody else, why don't we finish the stories of each driver? We have TTG Maze, the owner of TTG Esports. Very fantastic to have him, and that's actually Evil out of the race. Early on, another retirement for him. You have Blizzard, who is well known to be a really, really good driver on, you know, F1 games in general. Same thing for Speedsta. However, making a stamp in the Project Cars community. Nice to see him running today. He's actually running in 4th. Not that far behind. Well, again, he's still that far, but he does have Maze does have damage and is also slower at this track compared to that McLaren of Blizzard. So what else we have right now? Other than that, we have Bart in 5th. He's been running in CRC since Season 2. He's been promoted to an admin role for this season, as he's the coordinator and lobby host for Tier 2. And he's one of the stewards for Tier 1, so Bart having good responsibilities. And he's been running since Season 2. He's been committed. In Season 3, he had an injury that set him back, and now in Season 4, he is running full-time. So nice to have Bart with us. And then we have Casper running back there in 6th place. And again, the Renaults, not the best car, but for them, it helps. They're really, really nice to them, and they're able to adjust the setups for it very nicely. So for Casper and Bart, they do like the Renault. It's, again, not the best all-around car to have, but for a track like Le Mans, it isn't the worst thing you could have. You could have, like, an Audi. You could have an Audi. I'm just going to leave it at that. Luckily, nobody's driving an Audi this season in Tier 2. And actually, mentioning that, it was breaking news reported this morning that Williams Engineering, the 2 Audi drivers of John and Steve, they would switch cars from Audi to Cadillac right before Le Mans. If you didn't know, Cadillac is, how do we put it? Cadillac is just as good of a car at Le Mans as is the AMG and SLS. So them switching cars at the last second, it does reset their entire Constructors' Championship team standings. meaning they'll start from 0 entering Le Mans today. Their cannot pronounce today. Their Audi team will be stuck at those points unless they switch back to Audi again, which they won't be allowed to anyway, since there's only one car switch a season. But if I can remember correctly, I'm going to go back to my, is it downloads? I think it's downloads. I'm trying to find the points right now. There we go. There's the points. So right now, Williams, if I am correct, Williams does have 37 points already. So the fact that they're restarting from 4th in Constructors, that is a bit of madness to say. And the fact that actually that's Mays off and back on. He is getting caught by Blizzard. So he's got to keep it between the white lines first. Yeah, I was going to say with Williams, they're restarting from 37 points to nothing. So this really does promote HRT Esports up to 4th place, I should say, if they're able to get 9th place or better entering today's race in Le Mans. Missing in action, the Lamborghini team with 27 points. With Rotary again in that Lambo is going to be a threat to reckon with in Tier 1 today. So expect their team total to go up. And then we have Invicta, Campbell, and British American Alliance. Those 3 teams are at the bottom. I don't expect any of them to get points today. I mean, besides Campbell Motorsport, I mean, that's Andy in a better car now. I think I know nobody else is left, but we do see Blizzard gaining. Oh, yeah, I was going to say Andy's in a better car that he likes now that he switched to the Porsche. So we have 9 teams in this Constructors fight now still. However, 2 separate slots for Williams Engineering going from Audi to Cadillac. So 21 minutes left in this race. Blizzard is cutting away at the gap that Mays has to him, and Mays is right now in 3rd place. But remember that Lamborghini isn't as fast as that McLaren, and it also has damage affecting his speed. So while Mays holds on right now, we have 21 minutes remaining. Again, 21 minutes left in this race. If anybody has questions, you can put them down below. We'll make sure to answer them. So yeah, Mays is hanging on. I mean, ever since that gap has gone down to 20 seconds, I am noticing he's starting to find a rhythm. He's starting to find, what should I call it? That gap is staying constant. And for Blizzard, he's really, really trying to push the car, but at the same time, keep it between the white lines. That's Casper in the pits. Not sure what's happened this time. So right now that lead is still 7 seconds. Speeds is hanging on. He's still trying to pressure him. Oh, Speedsta spun! Speedsta has spun from the lead in this race. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure if it was a lapped car, but we've seen a spin in that corner happen before. And Flaky all of a sudden has a chance to win his first CRC race. Yeah, not sure it was from this Renault who's actually defending. That's Bart. Not sure if Bart was the one that caused that one. Have no clue. But Speedsta is back here. So momentarily, we sort of commentators curse him. We say, okay, good lead for Speedsta, and then he ends up spinning. So I'm not surprised it's happened. It's happened before in CRC. So Andy putting down in the comments, believe it or not, Maze is running third. We find this shocking because Andy has said, Maze told me pre-race he has never raced here before. Ever. So, him running third in his debut is really, really good. Overcoming damage and everything, and I think Blizzard has actually spun or something. He's lost time to Maze. So, surprisingly enough, Speedsta is gonna fight his way through the field to win this event again. He'll go for his second win this season, and he'll be set back now as Flaky all of a sudden is leading this race. And actually, why don't we do points as they run right now? Yeah, let's do points as they run right now. Let's load up the spreadsheet. Move the mic closer. There we go. Wrong spreadsheet. Come on, Alan, you're better than this. Down to 5 cars in this race. So we have seen Casper drop out of the race, not getting any points from today. So a 5-car race in this field. It's sad to see, but it's what we have right now. So points as they run, Speedsta has 43, Flaky has 21. So that'd be 46 right now for Flaky if he wins. Already Speedsta has 43. That would be Speedsta up to 61, and Blizzard is running 4th right now. So yeah, so as everything runs right now, from the seams of it, right now Blizzard will be the point leader, or the championship points leader, by 1 point over Speedsta, at an astounding, if I can do my math, 62 points, Speedsta at 61, and then is it Tiger Kart with 44, or does it, I forgot, hold on a second. So yes, Tiger Kart does get passed as well by Flaky. If Flaky wins today, he'll be up to 46 points, while the Tiger Kart stays at 44. Evil retired. Bart is up to, I mean, he has 28 now, so that'd be 38 for him. He would pass Matt in the championship standings, his own teammate. So yeah, the championship standings could shift today. I mean, Flaky won't be leading the the championship standings at all, but he will make a big dent and an impact in this championship fight. We have 15 minutes remaining in this race. Send in the comments down below if you want to mention anything in Tier 2. Anything to talk about in Tier 1, we will as well. Again, it's just the fight for first and second right now, and honestly, they were pretty constant before. I don't think Speeds is gaining at all. He's really going to have to fight through this to win. And something I just realized, I wonder where all that debris is on track when the opening lap, or two laps in, we had Agulator flip the car from trying to avoid another car, and he ended up flipping the car, and there was so much debris on the track, I can't believe. It all went away. I know it all probably despawned, but I'm kind of curious if anybody ran it over, if anybody was close proximity-wise to the debris. I was kind of curious if anybody ran into it. I mean, it makes sense if that happened. It's actually tech penalties right now. 6 seconds of penalties goes to Blizzard. So even if Blizzard does get close to Maze, he's going to have to pass him and put on 6 seconds to at least be able to contend for a podium. So Maze right now pretty much does have a podium unless he spins. So putting it on right now, 1340 remaining. And until Tier 2, lobby should be getting set up. We'll remind Jake to start up the lobby. So right now, 13 minutes remaining. The gap is still 6 seconds. Let's take a look with Speedsta. So I will note, I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time. He's really, really not gaining. And I'm not sure if that McLaren is either damaged or whatnot from the opening incident. And as the sun starts to set, like we mentioned pre-race, the track temperature is now 96 degrees. Now, okay, now get a kick out of this. Despite the wind temperature increasing, despite the wind increasing, despite the track temperature decreasing, the air has actually gone up to 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So it really isn't down to the air temperature. Try to sound like a meteorologist here for a second. It's really down to whether or not the sun shines on the track. You'd see a lot of shade. There's a lot of shade on the track right now. So within those parts, the track is really cool. I'd say within this final corner or two, there's shade there. That's really cool. But right here is where the softs, I can see, could burn up. Complete dead sunlight right there. And then the straightaway, they just cool off, you know, just driving straight. The shade is there. Nice enough for the tires. So I just found that shocking. While the air temperature does increase, the track temperature still decreases as we go into sunset, and there is additional wind from when we started this race. It's coming from a northeast. It's light cloud. I mean, despite we do have some clouds, not a lot, but I think that's another thing with this track. It's really, there's a lot of shade. I mean, this track is very long. There's a lot of trees surrounding the track. It goes through nature and public roads. So again, right here, complete dead shade. So while, again, the air does get warmer, it's really down to whether or not the sun can shine on the track, and there's a lot of natural objects blocking that. You can see a lot of trees on the left-hand side. That is blocking part of it if the sun was on the left-hand side. You see a lot of trees here in general. Again, like we said, it's really down to really natural objects covering the track. You can see a lot of shade, so these tires will start to fade away a little bit as the track does start to cool down. And in the moment I was talking, the air temperature has gone up 3-4 degrees Fahrenheit, believe it or not. It's up into the 90s now. And we actually have a potential of the air being warmer than the track, which honestly doesn't happen. I mean, we have these heavy fuel-guzzling machines on the track, tearing up the track, putting rubber down, and, you know, we'd expect the track to warm up, especially with these temperatures. But honestly, the track is just cooling down because, like we said, the shade. The lights are now starting to come on. We have 10 minutes left, and Speedsta is reeling in Flaky. Because I will say, with a completely another track, let's compare this track to, let's see, Rupana Park. Rupana Park, I would say, it's very open. You don't have any grandstands. You don't have a press box. You don't have anything. There's no walls. There's barely anything. There's a couple trees at the most, right? So when summer does hit, there's no natural objects on the track, no shade whatsoever. So the track will always be warmer than the air. However, again, like Le Mans, when you have natural objects, you have trees, you have grandstands, you have fences, you have buildings in the background, like right there, and power lines, you know? You are gonna start to feel where the track will be cooler than the actual air, and that most usually does not happen at racetracks. So again, I will keep reiterating that. I think it's a fun fact, really, for most of these tracks. I mean, most of them, there are trees around the track, but for this part, there's a lot of shade. And for Le Mans, most notably, this is one of the few tracks where, again, the track temperature can be cooler than the air. And if you're now all of a sudden shifting to flaky now, well, this track is really, I mean, none of these guys are prepared for it. If you look at Speedsta, his right rear is like very freezing almost, and you can look at Flaky, his right front is freezing. None of them were expecting to for the track to drop off a little bit, and honestly, you know, it just depends. Like, nobody was expecting for the temperature to increase, but for the track to drop off. And you could see their tires, it's really, really cold. Only those left rears are holding on at the moment. And you can see the same thing for Speedster. It's actually that left front that's designed. Those left sides are better, but it's mainly either the rear or the front, and it just shows the setup of how these cars are set up so completely differently. We have 8 minutes left. In the torn-up, beat-up race car, Flaky is hanging on. It was a 3-second gap earlier. It's back up to 4 seconds. So still leading, that gap is now under 2 seconds, or under 3 seconds, I should say. And we do have a couple laps left to do, and that's Speedster with a penalty. So timings, that's only, 2 seconds of penalties, yeah. So he's really going to have to get by him and pull away his Speedster. That ultimately really ends his chance of actually trying to win this thing. So he does have to work up 2 seconds, then extend a gap of 2 seconds. So for Speedster, he really does have a lot of work set out for him on his plate. And while this battle happens, why don't we look with Blizzard and Maze? Blizzard is reeling in, but Maze could have his first career podium. He's running in third. He's at a, I wouldn't say clean race. And it's funny because that car should be damaged, but all of a sudden, that car looks completely new. I mean, the damage just fixed itself visually. I think, realistically, the damage is still there for Maze. But Flaky is holding on. If he can overwhelm the pressure of Speedster, Flaky could get himself his first career win in CRC. You know, that'd be great. That'd be really great to see him win a race. And that, you know, I could totally see that. So right behind him, I just noticed Flaky's lights aren't on. The track temperature is starting to cool down even more, while the air starts to really actually warm up a little bit more, despite the sun going down. So holding on, 5.5 minutes remain. In the fight for the win, we still don't know who could win this race. That gap is now under 2 seconds in Speedster. He is reeling in, and this should be the final lap that we are heading that we are heading to. In complete pitch dark there. It's ran a little bit wide. That actually was lag, my bad. So again, this should be the final lap that we are heading to. Hopefully it is. Actually, I don't... it depends. Depends when they cross the line. Let's see some of these lap times. Timings. Yeah, last lap was... I mean, they're close. They're close. 4:03 for Speedster. Last lap was almost his best lap by 2/10. Speedster's gaining. It's now less than under a second. If this was F1, we'd say within DRS activation point, but this is GT racing. So we are headed to the final lap. This should be it. 1 lap to go. We are headed to. It'll be awfully close. And they should be side by side next lap. So even then, that'll slow them down a couple seconds. So as we cross the line, we'll see. Again, I'm not sure. It'll be close. Oh, Flaky's run wide in the final corner, parking the bus there. Final lap. We are headed to definitely 1 lap to go, crossing with 3:57 remaining. Speedsta is going to be right there, and it'll be the fight for the win at Le Mans. Up the inside, Speedsta, an aggressive move, making contact, both of them are off. Speedsta spins, and Flaky hangs on. He's gonna wait for him, actually, despite a time penalty. Speedsta gets going, and he still may have a chance. So that was an aggressive move from Speedsta. He's able to keep going, and actually, the gap is, I would say, 1.5 something. So he got rid of the slowdown there. He did have a slowdown momentarily. He's pushing, heavily track extending there. He doesn't care if he picks up a time penalty. He just wants to cross the line first. Flashing those lights. Flaky now has a time penalty. Penalty of 30 seconds. A 30-second time penalty, which could get reversed. It could get reversed in stewards. So we will see this. That'll be under investigation. Speedsta flashing his lights at Flaky, so we'll see if whether or not that was fair or not. However, Speedsta made an aggressive move, and it sent both of them off the tracks. Flaky was able to take the lead with it, and apparently flashing the lights in disappointment that he did not get the position back. And the thing was, Speedsta never had the position, so I'm not sure what he's upset about there. So we honestly won't know who wins this race until we just figure it out. I mean, we'll have to look at the time penalties and everything. It's going to be a... that should be a time penalty as well for Speedsta. Again, this last lap is going to be hectic here, and Speedsta's gaining again. We'll see if he's going to be able to make a move. Actually, just realized Blizzard and everyone else are close to each other. Let's just keep an eye on this battle now. Here we go around the outside. Speedsta. Defending. Cannot do it is Flaky. However, he's going to prevail next to him. Left and right. Which way to go? Speedsta trying to find a way through. We have a minute till this race ends. This will be the final lap. They will not have time to do one other. He squeezes his way by on the grass. And Speedsta, he'll have to have a chance to get a go. Up the inside, through the curb. This time there's contact again in the grass, and spinning goes Speedsta hard into the outside wall, and that's Speedsta in the wall on the final lap of this race. Spinning it backwards and letting it go again. He should still get the win on track due to that 30-second time penalty, but we'll see if the stewards reverse it. Reminiscent to what happened last season between Evil and Racing at Home. Blizzard has now gotten by Maze, but remember, he does have a 6-second time penalty. So Flaky will cross the track or cross the line in first place. However, with the win, we still don't know who gets it. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Race over. Porsche curves for Flaky. He'll cross the line on track in P1. Whether or not he stays there is up to the stewards. Crossing the line unofficially, Flaky wins Le Mans. He wins the French Grand Prix. However, due to that time penalty, Speedsta unofficially wins. He'll cross the line, take over that 30-second time penalty. And I'm not sure these guys are happy with each other. Whether or not that is the case. Maze is actually back up to third place now. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, these guys definitely not happy with each other. Yep. I don't think anybody's happy with each other at the end of this race, to be honest. So Speedsta, he does have to race a Tier 1 race after this, so he's going to have to cool down his emotions as we enter that one. So we'll wait and see. Maze should be the one to get P3. He's on 11 liters of fuel. 15 for Blizzard, and 15 for Bart. Bart is a lap down, so this will be his final lap. After this race, we will proceed to Tier 1 streaming, which will be great to have. Bart picks up a penalty at the very end, I think. That was a big whopping penalty. Nope, never mind, 1 second. Usually when you go off right before the line, it's a big penalty. But crossing the line, that is Maze in P3. First podium in CRC for Maze. 4th place for Blizzard. So, regardless of what happened, interesting race. Interesting indeed. We'll save the replay from this one, so we have some footage to look over. So that is it. Unofficially, Speedsta wins this race. The stewards will have a look at that 30-second time penalty. Then Maze in P3, P4 is Blizzard, P5 Bart, and after that, we'll see. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in. We'll see you at Tier 1 action in just a few minutes.